Hello Twin Flames, this is your weekly card reading, and let's begin as usual with Divine Feminine Energy. And so the first card coming up this week for Divine Feminines is Boundaries, and this is a really important card to understand. So when we talk about boundaries, we're not talking about making a boundary from a place of anger or frustration or upset. We're talking about boundaries that come from a place of peace. And the way that we can learn about boundaries is through the teachings of union and understanding really where and what you need tolerate in life. So this is all about the twin flame journey, all about understanding love and what love is here to teach us, and how love isn't just about loving somebody else, it's also about learning to love yourself. So as this card says, making self-care a priority, being direct, tuning into one's feelings and practicing self-awareness. And so a boundary might be coming up this week because either you realize that you're being taken from without being loved fully in return. And this could be anyone in your life. It could even be your twin flame. So yes, if you're wondering, you can place peaceful boundaries with your twin flame because your twin flame is going to reflect patterns that you both share. So if your twin flame is doing something that you don't like, you just feel your own feelings about it. You can't change their behavior. You have to either say, okay, that's not for me, and I'm going to place a peaceful boundary and say, no, thank you. Or I'm going to just take a look at that pattern, or rather, I'm going to take a look at that pattern and I'm going to work on that pattern within me. So if my twin flame is doing this, this and this, then I must be doing that to myself somewhere within. Otherwise it wouldn't be able to come up in my reality. And so you can place a boundary with that behavior if it's not feeling good to you while you heal it, and then you can see, has there been any change in the connection here, or do I need to go deeper still? So boundaries are essential to your own self-care, your own self-love. If you are not enjoying an experience around you, or an experience is frankly not healthy, then you are always safe to place a boundary, no matter who that is. And boundaries are unconditional love, because they're saying, I'm going to teach you how to love me. And if you don't want to join in on loving me in the way that I need to be loved, then you're not for me. That's what a boundary is saying. This is the way that I deserve to be treated. So let's move through the reading and see how that ties into everything else today. So the next card for Divine Feminines is Impatient. So it really feels like Divine Feminines this week are stepping into power. So claiming those boundaries, but also feeling a bit like, well, where's all my good? And I'm doing all this healing and what's happening and I'm not seeing the results yet. Well, impatience is actually a trick of the ego. So when we feel impatient, what we're doing is we're looking for the result in the future. We're thinking, when this happens, I will feel better. And that's the trick on the journey. That's really what we need to understand is not the truth. So all your happiness doesn't lie in when your twin flame shows up at your door. Your happiness is already within you. It is the source of love in your heart that you are always connected to. And when you learn to use the mirror exercise and bring love into the places within you that are hurting or feeling impatient, you will naturally find that you align to the truth, which is just love, that's who you really are. And so when you know that you're already with love, well, you can really relax and realize that your good is right here, that it's up to you to bring that good to you. And as you do that, impatience can melt away, and it can melt into patience of knowing that, love is here. I'm on a journey. And the twin flame journey is about mastery. And mastery doesn't come after 5 minutes of work. Mastery takes time. So this isn't a journey for the faint-hearted. This is what I call like a PhD in love. It really is going to require a high level of work and inner work and study. So, are you all in? Is that what you're choosing for yourself? Do you choose the highest form of love? So, hope that helps with the impatience feeling. And then the third card for Divine Feminines this week is Dignity. And here we see a woman walking away. And the message is choosing self and walking away out of self-respect, knowing your value and self-worth. So that really, really ties into the boundaries card, doesn't it? And maybe even the impatience too. So Divine Feminine here is saying, okay, I deserve to be treated better. And I'm going to just choose myself here and work on myself. And I'm going to hold high that value, that self-value and worth that I know is what I truly desire, what I truly want to receive. And remembering that love is, of course, coming from within your own heart and from within the relationship that you're having with yourself. You can give yourself all the self-worth, all the self-love, all the dignity and self-respect that you're actually desiring. So if you are experiencing someone or your twin flame not treating you respectfully, not valuing you, not honoring your self-worth, then that is a mirror. That's a mirror to say, time for you to do that. It's time for you to value yourself. So more inner work. And if you'd like some help with that, I'm right here. You can reach out anytime. You can book an introductory coaching session and I can show you the ropes, show you what's involved on a twin flame journey, show you how to heal. And so that's a really good sign. It really shows that the Divine Feminine is no longer reaching out and trying to grab love from the twin flame, that your Divine Masculine doesn't have the love that you desire. You do. It's in your own heart. So now let's take a look at Divine Masculine energies this week. And the first card we have is the card of Pride. Afraid to take action for fear of embarrassment or shame, has difficulty apologizing. Yeah, so the Pride card, it's quite a tricky card, this one, isn't it? So what Pride really means is a sort of refusal to move forward. Pride is a kind of refusal to accept help. It is a refusal to really see things how they are. And it's kind of a bit of a stick in the mud kind of feeling, isn't it? It's also control, trying to control everything. Instead of really taking loving action, it's just this holding on to embarrassment, shame, guilt, and blame. Because if you don't want to apologize, what are you doing? You're blaming somebody else for your feelings. So as this image shows, it's this man standing here, yeah, just kind of dug his heels in really, and is stuck in the spot. So yeah, this is a bit of a masculine trait sometimes. Obviously feminine energy can do this too, but it's a little bit like just not accepting help. So Divine Masculines are needing to heal through guilt and shame, which are some very heavy, dense feelings, and be willing to accept, to be shown how to do things, to be vulnerable. And that's really what Pride is. It's just a refusal to be vulnerable. And vulnerability is actually your strength, because when you can open up, you can receive. So what's stronger than that? So let's see what else is going on with Divine Masculines this week. And here we have the card of the Divine Feminine. Sacred Feminine, Masculine recognizes this feminine and the connection. Home. So this is really a confirmation, if you've been looking for one, that your Divine Masculine recognizes you as his twin flame, as his Divine Feminine. And with that may be coming some difficult feelings of, well, this might be my woman, my Divine Feminine, but what about all those things from the past that I can't forgive? Perhaps he's getting a bit stuck in that space of how do I move forward? And of course, healing is the only way to move forward. So this is a card to celebrate. It really means that he's recognized you in his heart. And then, of course, there's some inner work to do there. So have a feel into your heart. How do you feel about your twin flame? Feeling embarrassed to move forward? Maybe work on, with the mirror exercise, your own feelings about that and see what comes up. So the last card for Divine Masculines, and that's not a surprise. It's the card of lesson. And this is really saying that there is a valuable soul lesson happening right now for Divine Masculines. And he is really confronting his vulnerability and whether he should perhaps stay stuck or move forward. And of course, when you stay stuck, we all know what it feels like to be stuck. Like, it's really uncomfortable. It's incredibly uncomfortable. There can be a knot in your heart, a constriction, just discomfort, you can't sleep, all sorts of things like that. So your Divine Masculine is really, really feeling it. When love comes knocking at the door and you want to hold on to a negative ego illusion pattern, it gets really uncomfortable to stay in that pattern. The whole purpose of your union, your connection, is to burst out of that fear back into love again. So your Divine Masculine is working on that right now. Now let's take a look at the union energies for the week ahead. And the first card we have here is a surrender card, and it says, I let go of the shadow of the past by seeing someone for the first time with the eyes of love. Ties in beautifully with the pride, doesn't it? It's about really just allowing love to do the work through your heart. It's about letting go of all fearful patterns and illusions and any power they may have held over you or your union, and realizing that love is real, that all fear is purely illusion. So what is the point in holding on to that stuff when it doesn't even exist? Right? There is no separation. Love is here right now. Love is with you. Love never left you. And so any belief within you that thinks differently is holding on to an illusion. It's holding on to a lie. And so choosing to open up and see clearly with the eyes of love is what's going on in your union right now. That's beautiful. So the next card for your union is this beautiful card of relationship patterns. It says here, it takes strength to recognize the need for change. So you can really feel the theme this week, that it's about opening up to vulnerability, opening up to seeing that there's a different way of doing things. And I think that's really what's being reflected here in the image, that there's just this recognition. There's a mirror there, isn't there, with a little cherub in it. Like, there's a different way. There's a different note to play. There's a different resonance that can be felt when you release relationship patterns. So relationship patterns are really just our past experience of what we think relationships are, and letting go of that. Relationships are not about I do this for you, you do that for me. That's an exchange, that's a contract. And of course, twin flames don't operate in that way, because you are one being loving itself. So the love between twin flames, when you heal the patterns, it is unconditional. And that's what's being healed here, recognizing that it's not love hurts, love's painful, love leaves me. No, those weren't real love. They were just soulmate karmic patterns. People that you meet, that you resonate with for a while, that you're attracted to for a while, until it fizzles out. Twin flames never fizzle out. So now let's look at the last card for your union this week. It was my fault, but I blamed you. And that really, really reminds me of the rest of the cards here, the dignity card, the pride card, the boundaries card, the relationship patterns, all of it. So guilt and blame lead to shame, lead to not wanting to be vulnerable, not believing that you can be forgiven, not believing you can be released from that feeling of guilt. And of course you can, because when you release the idea that you were ever separate from love, when you recognize that love is within you and always was, when you give that love to yourself, then everything else falls away. All the blocks, all the patterns release. So this week, forgive yourself for anything you may have done. Forgive your twin flame and recognize that love is within you. It always was, and it wants you. Have a beautiful week. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.